Ahoy! And welcome aboard the Sea Monkey. Good morning, YouTube. I don't know where this video is coming from, but I don't know, maybe the Lord compelled me. I kind of feel the need to talk about charity. Biblically, the word charity is primarily found in the King James Version, and it nearly always means love. Like most of the time, 99% of the time, it means love. 1 Corinthians is known as the Great Love Chapter. 1 Corinthians 13 in the King James translates agape as charity. More modern translations render it more accurately to the word love. The only use of the word charity to indicate giving is in Acts 9:36, which refers to Dorcas, a woman full of good works and charity. The Greek word here means compassion as exercised towards the poor or beneficence. The KJV translates it as almsgiving, also known as giving alms. The Bible talks a lot about this second type of charity and how we are to care for the poor and needy among us. Perhaps one of the most famous passages on caring for those in need is in Jesus' parable of the sheep and the goats, where he says, "Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. I tell you the truth, whatever you did for one of the least of those brothers of mine, you did for me.'" That's Matthew 25:34 through 36 and 40. Pardon me. Clearly, when we care for someone, we're doing the will of Christ. There's that. However, God will only help those who are willing to help themselves. Therefore, when you give charitably to those who are unwilling to help themselves, you're now enabling them to continue in their ways. And now this may be an unpopular opinion, but I would like to show you the front page article from my Sunday paper to emphasize the point I want to make. Now bear in mind, this is just a point, not a rant, not calling anyone out or anything. But 1 Corinthians 13:11 reads, "When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass, darkly. But then, face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, and charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity." The unfortunate consequence of charity to those who are unwilling to help themselves is a greater burden placed on those who would be charitable. Those who do not earn what they have tend to place no value in that which they have, for it was given freely. Like feeding a stray cat, the cat becomes expectant on the food provided and no longer seeks to feed itself. When you give those who do not want or are unwilling to earn for themselves, you end up with objects of no value that will get discarded at will. Now for the article. Now, this is my Sunday paper for December 12th. Front page news. Homeless camps focus of group. 4PA launches efforts. At a muddy abandoned campsite just above Peabody Creek, Joe DeScala bent to his task under gray December skies. "Here's another needle," he said from a crouch. Within minutes he spotted 2 more syringes stuck in wood and in dirt in the tiny clearing. The gentle static of rushing water in the background. "We've got sharps containers and stuff for all this stuff when we find it," DeScala said Friday. "But it's not easy working in this stuff, you know? Scattered all down the hill. So we'll have to, go back and forth and pick away at it." And here we go. Here's the point. A saturated mariner's jacket and an all-good peanut butter jar lay among the debris. A 10th of a mile or so from where the trail begins in a retail parking lot. There sat DeScala's pickup waiting for its trip to the transfer station. A saturated mariner's jacket. Someone probably gave that homeless person that coat. They didn't buy it. So they either got it from the homeless, outlet where they can go get stuff. I know there's one here in my town where homeless people can just go get sleeping bags and tents and coats and stuff. And it's like, this has become such a problem, it's front page news. There are multiple of these abandoned homeless camps scattered around this region. I wouldn't say neighborhood, community, because it's more widespread than that. It spans across the entire town of Port Angeles, which is a fairly large town as far as size goes. Its population density isn't that high as far as, compared to its size, but it's not a one-off thing. I found a pile of needles laying in the middle of the road the other night when I was doing my route. I don't remember if I deleted the picture or not, but I took a picture of them. There was just like 8 or 12 needles just laying in the road. And, it's... A lot of these people are in the position they're in because they don't want to help themselves. Now, I know a lot of us would think that they've been displaced or it's someone else's fault that they're in the position that they're in. But I can argue against that. But I won't. I'm sure you guys can see my points. When you've got druggies and you're just giving them stuff, you're not only creating a burden on the community by having to go clean that stuff up later on, but you're just enabling them to keep on being druggies. I don't know, just something to think about. In conclusion, I'm not saying don't be charitable. I'm not saying don't give. So, to give a homeless person a coat on its face seems like a good idea. What we don't think about is the fact that the homeless person will have to carry that coat around with them all the time. They don't have a home to leave it at. So if it gets wet or dirty, they're just going to discard it onto the ground wherever they're at. They don't use the dumpsters or garbage cans. They dig stuff out of the dumpsters to use. And they leave it all over the ground around the garbage can. It's an unfortunate consequence. It really, really is. But there can be solutions. I'm not saying I know what they all are. I do have possibly one recommendation, but I'll talk in private with people about that later on. Someone once said that if you truly love someone, you will put them in a position not to need you. If charity is love, then putting someone in a position not to need you or stuff is the best form of charity you can provide. I mean, that's my honest opinion. Of course, that's not scripture, it's not quoted. That's my honest opinion. And I just want to be clear, I'm not calling anyone out or putting anyone down for anything that's going on in the community. I think it's wonderful, everything that's going on everywhere. I just wanted to bring up this not so savory background point, so to speak. A point that should be considered and not forgotten about. So, thank you all for listening to me ramble for a minute. I love you all. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and God bless.